It sounds like a plot from a spy novel. The president, vice president, secretary of state, and national security advisor have all been poisoned with a toxin for which there is no antidote.
It might make for a good book, but you may be surprised to know it once seemed a very real possibility. 24-hour News 8's political reporter Rick Alvin joins us now with some surprising revelations from that interview with former Secretary of State Condi Rice last night.
When I first read this, I was shocked. For more than an hour last night, I talked with Dr. Rice about her new book, No Higher Honor, and her time in Washington. One tantalizing revelation in that book that I talked to her about was what turned out to be a false alarm that could have threatened a large portion of the nation's leadership just after 9/11, and other threats that you and I never knew about.
It's a luncheon in China with the president sitting at a table with some high-ranking officials. The national security advisor comes by and says, "Feet down, not up." They thought it was code. It sounds kind of funny. It is a terrifying story that I don't think the country knew until now. Did they?
No, I don't think so. And the story is that we were in Shanghai, and every morning, China time, evening in Washington, the president and Colin Powell and Andy Card and I would get on a video conference with the vice president and Steve Hadley back in Washington. And this particular morning, you could see that the vice president was just grayed. You could even see it through the video. And so the president said, "Good morning, Dick. What's wrong? Or how's everything?" And the vice president said, "Mr. President, the White House detectors have detected botulinum toxin, a deadly nerve agent. There is no known antidote, and those of us who have been exposed will die." And the president said, "What was that again, Dick?" And at that point, Colin Powell said, "What's the exposure time?" Trying to figure out when was he last in the White House, obviously. And figured out that, yes, actually, he was in the White House, too. And so the president said, "Go talk to Hadley, find out what's going on." Well, Steve Hadley is a Midwesterner with a great sense of humor, and even in this moment, he used it. He said, "Yes, it is true. The White House detectors have detected botulinum toxin. It may be a false alarm. We won't know. We've sent the samples to the CDC. And let me put it this way. If the mice are feet down, we are fine. If the mice are feet up, we're toast." So the story that you tell is it's 24 hours later, and we're at this luncheon in China, and I go by the president, say Steve Hadley's on the phone. When I come back, I turn to him and I say, "Feet down, not feet up." He says, "Thank goodness, the mice are feet down, not feet up." And I'm sure the Chinese thought, what in the world are they talking about? But when you consider that there was the botulinum toxin scare, there was a smallpox scare that was not known to the population because we couldn't figure what to do about it. The president had to consider vaccinating the whole country.
Which was not possible.
Which was not possible, and there was a very real threat of the deaths of people who might have been allergic to it. There was actually a radiological threat against Washington, D.C. on October 30th, 31. So the days after 9/11 were pretty hairy.
All of that made me wonder just how much else is there that we don't know about the days and weeks preceding those attacks in September of 2001. What were the real threats, or imagined, in the days and weeks after? I asked the secretary just how much more there was, perhaps still classified, that we would learn in the next decade. You'll hear what she has to say about that and a number of other interesting issues this Sunday morning at 10 o'clock for To The Point.
Rick, do you get the sense that she's at ease, or at least is at peace with her time in Washington and working in the White House?
I've never met anybody who seemed more confident, more of an understanding of what she had been through, what she had done. And I asked her several times about, what about 9/11? Could you have done more? And she goes, "I've asked myself that question every day, and I have to conclude that we did everything we could." She is very confident. A wonderful interview, and it's an interesting show. I hope folks will join us on Sunday.
We look forward to that Sunday. Thank you, Rick.